this accordion style and calculating all the details. User can enter name, and can enter the meal and choose the add-ons, and the bill summary will come. So this is the example we tried. So what you'd have to do is, I will give you a task. The task for you is, you need to create, similar to that, a hotel registration form. Hotel registration form. You have to design a hotel registration form. The design I will give you. Yeah. So this is the hotel registration form example. Just the screen. Rest of the details you have to design. So pictures, graphics, everything you have to create. That means in the hotel form, you put images and everything. So at the top, customer name, check-in date, total number of days, total number of persons. You have to design that. So this is, name is input type text. Date is input type date. You have to put a date picker. User should be able to select. Total number of days, number, 2 days, 3 days, total number of persons. User can select any room, deluxe suite rooms, like that. So user can select amenities like AC, locker. So the point is, so some user selected deluxe room. Here I given that deluxe room, that means 2,500 per day. Suite room 4,000 per day. AC 1,000 per day. Extra locker 300 per day. And total, how you will get room plus amenities into total days. That means how many days he selected into room cost first plus amenities cost into total days. There is advance amount. They can enter advance amount. Advance is mandatory. You keep required there. And this advance amount should be reducted. Advance minus total amount. Total minus advance amount. Then balance amount will come. One more point is that, so here up to 2 days, so up to 2 people, it's no problem. But if people are more than 2, for every extra person on total room cost, 1,000 must be calculated. Total number of people up to 2, no extra cost. But more than 2, for extra person, 1,000 extra we have to calculate on total amount. Remember, that is for only extra person. For the extra person, we have to handle that. So that is the total amount they have to calculate. So for 2 people, no extra cost. If 3 people are there, so extra 1,000. 4 people are there, extra 2,000. Why? Because 2 extra people are there. Like that, it has to calculate the total cost. Total number of days and total people. We have to handle that. This is the design you have to create. So whatever Bootstrap, CSS, effects, styles, and everything you have to design and create. This design I will share with you into the assignment of classroom. You have to submit there. So here I will submit as assignment hotel registration form. This is your assignment. Option same. So yeah, that is the screen design. You have to create this. Okay, I posted this into the classroom. I hope you can try that now. Okay. Understood the exercise to do, right? Understood? So everything already you know. Everything already you know. Already we designed in KFC form. Out of 2, 1 will be selected. Both. That means, remember, here when user clicks register button, I want pop-up like this. This is model. In the model, I want this result to display. That means customer name, check-in date, total days, total number of persons, room type, amenities, what he selected, total amount, how much, balance amount, how much. We have to display this as model. Understood? So this entire you need to create as model. This entire you have to create as model. So you, as a pop-up, you have to create this area as a pop-up and display the result. I hope it is clear to everyone, right? This is your exercise. You have to try this. And this I showed you for working with selection statements. So in these selection statements, we discussed about this example. And in the selection statements, we learned about one form. So that is, this is an example I showed you related to forward jump. Yeah, forward jump. Now we have simple decision. Simple decision. So we have simple decision like this. So simple decision. Simple decision is nothing but, so it comprises of if, so, and with if with else clause. If else clause. Simple decision contains if and else clause. Else is considered as clause. That means it comprises of alternative statement to execute. It contains alternative statement to execute. So that means, so one set of statements are executed when condition is true, and another set when condition is false. Condition is false. So that is generally simple decision. Syntactically, we know that syntax. So we have to define in this way: if and condition, and statement if true. So what statements to execute if true? Then else, then statement if false. Statement if false. We can configure in this way. This is simple decision. Already we know simple decision. Several examples we created with if and else. No need to give any example for that. But simple decision, one problem is, suppose when we designed, so like this, you see if and else contains a simple decision. When we designed, suppose we have to verify username and password, like we need to verify. If I have to verify username and password, and both should match, then one problem is, suppose I will show here, right? Let's create a file. So I will say decision. Okay, let's create a page here. So doc type HTML head and title. So simple decision. Yeah. In this, we have body and heading user login, or some, just I will keep a field set with a legend user login. And here we have data list with the data term, username, and a text box. Input type is text, ID txt name, and password, and input type is equal to password. Now, so ID txt pwd. Now we have a button, say login. Now in this, we need to verify both the details. Now, if we need to verify both the details, then what we have to do is, we are giving simple script here. So function, first we will create var user details. The user details is an object where it contains username, so some John12, and some password, so some 1 2 3 4 5. Now we will create a function login click. On login click, we have to verify. So var username, it will come from get element by ID txt name dot value. Password, document get element by ID txt password dot value. Now we have to check if the username you entered is matching with user details dot user, and we are writing again and, so password is matching with user details dot password. Then here we have to display the message. If wrong, then invalid. I will keep that message in a heading. So align to center, ID as MSG, so message. Now here I am writing the option like document MSG is equal to document dot get element by ID MSG. Here we will display msg.inner.html, invalid username or password. Now here, this is okay. So that is fine, password. But what is problem in this is, the confusion is otherwise, if it is matching, then success. Otherwise, it should display invalid. It should say invalid. If it is matching, then document.write login success. This message should come. Now, the problem in this is simple decision. In the simple decision, the problem we will face is multiple conditions. So observe here, we are verifying all the conditions in one line. So many times people ask like, sir, why can't we verify all conditions in one line? So we cannot verify all conditions in one line because this will result only one true or false. That means now the problem is, when I entered here John and some password, it says login. On login click, I should call this. So here I will say on click. So login click. So you see on login click, we are calling it. I entered John, some password. When I say login, it shows invalid username or password. Now I am confused because is username invalid or password invalid? It's not clear. I need to clearly tell that username is invalid. I need to clearly tell that password is invalid. And remember, so first, what do you think? Which one is good to verify? First, username should verify or password should verify? So which one is good to verify first? First, username is mandatory, right? Yes. That means if user is not entering username and password correctly entered, that is no use. So that is the reason. So if username is correct, then only check for password. That looks better. What do you say? Right? If username is correct, then only it will check for password. So, and level by level, if you check, you can even correctly know where problem occurred. So in simple decision, we have to check all the conditions at one place. That is the example actually. That is the example. So in that simple decision, we have to check all the conditions at one place. This is, then what we can do is we can use nested decisions. Nested decision. In nested decision, so at a time, you have to test only one condition. At a time, you have to test only one condition. That means you can see at the same time, right? At the same time, at a time, you have to test only one condition. You have to test only one condition. At a time, you have to test only one condition. And so if the first condition true, then check the next. So check the next condition. Next condition. So it is like multi-level hierarchy. It is like multi-level hierarchy. Multi-level hierarchy. That's how we have to define. In this, what is advantage is, so we can identify problem in every condition, and report alternative option for that. That means we can identify problem in every condition. Here, we are unable to identify the problem and report for every. Suppose he entered wrong username, wrong or correct password. For both of them, it is showing same message. So what is the correct way? Nested decision will be the correct way. Like what you do is, here, first you check username. If username is matching with user details dot username, if username is matching with user details dot username, then msg dot inner html, it should display. So first, it should, username is correct. If not, that means username is not correct. Then it should display message msg dot inner html, invalid username. Because username is not correct, then it should display invalid username. If username is correct, then we can check another condition. So this time, if password is equal to user details dot password, if it is matching with password, then username is correct and password is correct. Like that, you can go multi-levels. If password is correct, then document.write login success. If password is wrong, then we have to display the message saying that msg.innerhtml, so invalid password. That means if there are many conditions and we have to report the problem in every condition separately, then we have to follow this. That means we need to use a multi-level hierarchy. We need to configure multi-level hierarchy. Now, I will save this here and save this. And you can see now. So you can see now I entered the username. So like John. And I entered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 password. So, and click login, it says invalid username. So that means username is wrong. Suppose username is 1, 2, correct. Then click login. Some password is wrong, then it says invalid password. If username and password both are correct, then it will say login success. And very important is you entered password. So it is not going to verify that. It is going to first verify invalid username. But actually, we will not put invalid username because we have to write one more condition, like if username is empty, that means in this condition, I will write in another if condition. If user name dot user details dot username, that means username is equal to user details dot username. So we are writing the condition. This time I will give like this. If username is equal to empty, that means nothing is entered. Then msg.innerhtml, I should display. So username required. This message should come. Otherwise, else, if not empty, then verify. Then write all that logic inside it. That means this we have to write inside that else clause. This is nested conditions. So if username is empty, then say finite any level. Now you see here. So when I do that, you see now I entered the password and I click login. Then it says username required. You can put that message anywhere. You can put beside that username or so globally. Some password is wrong, but still username is required. I entered username, which is wrong user. Then submit, it says invalid username. And I entered like John12. So username is correct. Then invalid password. Password we have to check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If username, password both are correct, then success. Like that. So there are several other point techniques also. Sometimes what we want is, if username is not correct, then we will not highlight the password so that user cannot select the password. Like that we can define. That means now one question is, why you are allowing the user to type password without entering username? That means if username is correctly entered, then only enable password. Otherwise disable it. That is more better. Then user will follow correct order. If you want the user to follow correct order, that means, so after doing this, he have to do this. There is first step, he must do this. Second step, he must do this. We have some step-by-step order for user. If we have some step-by-step order for user and we want user to follow that order, and without following the order, he tries somewhere else, it should not work. For that, what you can do is, you can disable, you can enable elements dynamically. So disabling, enabling elements dynamically will be more better. For example, see, this is multi-level conditions. This is nested. This is an example for nested decision. I will save that. That is an example for nested decision. Now we have another option, that is we can disable. Dynamically we can disable the options. For example, suppose I will create one more design, like some payment HTML. So let's create payment.html. Yeah. So here I am designing HTML head, title, some payment. And in the body section, field set and legend, payment details. And in the data list, now we have data term. So here we are asking for card number. And data definition. So here we have input type is equal to text. ID is equal to txt card. Okay. Another data num option is CVV. And the input type is equal to text. ID txt CVV. And size is some 4 something. And here we have another expiry. And the data definition here we have like, so select. So we have an option some 2021. So an option 2022. And option like 2023, like this. We have some options here. So 2024. Now we have button. So pay. So that is the button. Now what we want here is, these are the details. And you can try with different styles and all. Here I'm just giving the functionality. Now the card number, CVV, expiry, and pay. So first, card number should be verified, CVV should be verified, expiry, order. So I don't want CVV, card expiry. So here I will give an ID, LST years. Okay, so button have an ID, BTN pay. So what I'm doing is, for CVV, I'm giving disabled. For select, I'm giving disabled. For pay also, I'm giving disabled. That means all are disabled. That means they are not working. Now user cannot select. So if user enters the card number correctly, then it should allow to enter CVV. So then what we can do is, so we have to verify while typing the card number. That means on key up, verify card, that function should fire up. So here we are writing the script where user details. In user details object, we have card number, and the card number is some 16-digit number, 444. It's like a string, 555, 666, and 7788, like that. And we have CVV. CVV is like 202, like this. And we have expiry. Expiry is like 2023. Okay, these are the details. Now, when user function verify card, when user is typing, I need to check first. So where txt card is equal to document get element by ID, txt card dot value, which card number they entered. And we need to check here. So here, if I am writing the conditions configuring, is if txt card is equal to, that means user details dot card number, if it is matching with the card number, then document get element by ID, txt CVV dot disabled is equal to false. So we have to set a boolean. Actually it is disabled. That disabled should be set to false. So if it is correct, matching, disabled. Otherwise we can set disabled to true. That means else we can set disabled to true. Why? Because later if they want, they can modify. After entering, later if they modified, then again it should be disabled. We have to use alternative. That looks better. Now you see here what happens is, now I am typing the card number. So like 44555 666 666 7788, that is the correct card number. Then CVV will enable. If I go back and do some changes, wrong card number, again it will be disabled. So correct card number, then it will be enabled. That's enabling, disabling dynamically. That's better. And if he enters the correct CVV, then it should enable expiry. That means we have to write the function. So verify CVV. So that is same. So where txt CVV document get element by ID, txt CVV dot value. And if txt CVV is equal to user details dot CVV, then document get element by ID LST what we given years, LST years dot disabled is equal to false. Otherwise LST years disabled will be true again. We need to configure in this way. We are enabling and disabling dynamically. Now, multi-level conditions also we will write here. So verifying the details and all. Suppose here, one more option is this should fire up when they are typing. So on key up is equal to verify CVV. So it will verify that CVV while typing it. And this is example. Now I entered some correct card number 67788. CVV correct. CVV 201. So 202, then it is highlighted. Anything wrong, it is disabled. 202, then it is enabled. Now user can select expiry. Now there are so many problems, like after that what user can do. Suppose he entered some wrong card number. Changed the card number, that is wrong. CVV is disabled, but expiry is enabled. So when user selects correct expiry, then payment should come. Even though user may change something later. That's the reason after enabling one by one, we can verify all of them on pay click. We have to do that. Otherwise, we cannot just depend on level by level, because user can go above and below later and make some changes. That's the reason we have to write both. So I'm showing here just if, so LST years. So that means here function verify expiry. So where LST years document get element by ID, LST years dot value. If LST years is equal to user details dot expiry, then document get element by ID btn pay dot enable disabled is equal to false. So otherwise else, else it will be disabled true. So now up to this everything fine. Not only that, on verify button click, that means on pay button click, we have to verify. Suppose I kept a heading, so ID is equal to MSG, align equal to center. I need to display. So on button click, we have to say on click. And important, on click is pay click function. And verify user should verify expiry should happen when user is changing the drop down. So here we use on change. On change is used for drop downs. For drop down, we use on change. That means when value is changed. Because in drop down, user will not type anything, he will select. On change, so verify expiry. This function will fire up. Now you can see up to this, everything is fine. So 444, 555, 666, 77 and 88 and 202. And here I selected expiry. So correct 203, that's working. But when I click pay, I need to verify again all these together. So I need to verify and I need to tell what is problem. Card number is problem, or that means here we need to write another function now. So that is pay click. On pay click, we need to verify all the details. So where txt card document get element by id txt card dot value. Similarly, where txt cvv get element by id txt cvv dot value. Now where txt lst years document get element by id lst years dot value. And here we need to write the condition if and the message is document get element by id msg. And if txt card is matching with user details dot card number, then if not matching, else msg dot inner html, it says invalid card number. So if it is matching, then check another condition. If so txt cvv is matching with user details dot cvv. So if not matching, then msg dot inner html say invalid cvv. So if it is matching, then verify. So lst years is matching with user details dot expiry. If not matching, then put msg dot inner html. So invalid expiry year. And if all are matching, then document dot write, say heading some payment successful. This message should come. So successful, right? Now this is nested conditions, multi-level conditions. Multi-level conditions. Remember, not multiple conditions. Multi-level conditions. The intention is to verify every problem inside it and report that problem. So that is multiple conditions, how we can manage and verify. So let's save this and you run this and see now. Here I entered the card number first. Okay. 6777. So 666 7788. It's verified. Something wrong. Okay. 555. Now it is verified. 202. Okay, fine. Year. Okay, fine. But after all are enabled, I made some change in the CVV. CVV is wrong. And I try to submit. Then it says invalid CVV. That's good. CVV is correct. So there are some change in the card number. Then it should say invalid card number. Card number is correct. So CVV is correct. Expiry is wrong. Then it's not working. Pay button is not working. And if expiry is correct, then everything is correct. Then pay button will allow to submit. That is multiple conditions. Here, the main concept is how you can enable, disable the elements and define them dynamically. How to enable, disable the elements dynamically, how you can configure that dynamically. So that is the key point. The advantage of this is we can identify every problem clearly. Another advantage is we will not allow to go to the next until the first condition is satisfied. That will be very good because it will reduce the burden on compiler. It will not compare unnecessary things until or unless the condition is satisfied. So that you can achieve by using this approach. So this is another example for nested conditions. How you configure and define the nested conditions, how we can handle. So this is nested decision. We have another is multiple choices. Multiple choices is nothing but, so that means providing more than one alternative. So, and identifying the specific alternative use. This is multiple choices. For example, how these multiple choices are used. Syntactically, we write like this. If, so this is choice 1, condition 1. So we define statements if condition 1 true. So if condition 1 is not true, then else if. We write else if. This is condition 2. So that means here we write statements if condition 2 is true. Like that you can write multiple. So what is the point is, user can choose the first one or the second one. Else, that means if it is not matching with both, that means statements if both conditions are false. We have to configure in this way. This is called multiple choices. Why to provide this multiple choices? Why to provide the multiple choices and how we can handle? So what is the concept of that? Why to handle it? So generally, how we can manage that, how we can handle this. See, this is why required, because for one concept, you can give several choices. Actually, for that, what you can do is, we can use OR statement. But that is not good. Because when you give OR, any one will work, but we are not sure which one worked. That's the reason we need to be clear. In that case, this is what we have to do. For example, so suppose you see the login screens of some Amazon. So suppose we have a sign-in option in Amazon. And you see, they ask email or mobile. That means user can log in with email or mobile. With email login, then we have to send message to email. If mobile login, we need to send SMS to mobile. Like that, we have to choose. But password is same. That means 2 choices are given. He can use email or mobile. And password must be same. But if he logged in email, I want to send an alert to email. And a phone, then I need to send alert to phone. That is the option we have to configure. That we can do, that we can manage, right? So how we can handle that? And we can do in the same way, like previously we are showing and hiding. Instead of disabling, we can show and hide also. We can show and hide. Dynamically, we can show and hide the contents. If condition true, we can show. If condition false, we can hide. We can hide the contents and go to the next. So this can be done. So that means you see, suppose I am entering the details. So sign in .html. So let's create here doc type, HTML head title. So some conditions, okay. And in the body section, now we have a field set. So legend Amazon login. So, and here suppose I said a data list, or simply I given a div, and the div ID. Div have an ID, username, and another div I have an ID as password, and this div have style display as none. It's not displayed. Here we have a label, so username, or say email. Suppose I said email or mobile. And here we have a text box. Input type is equal to text div. I will keep a div. So input type is equal to text. ID as txt user. Okay. txt user. So that is username. And in password, we have a label. So your password. And we have a div. Input type is equal to password. ID is txt password. Txt password. Okay. Now what should happen here is, generally, so user will click a button here. So button is continue. Continue. I'm not using any bootstrap. So link relation is equal to style sheet href. So node modules bootstrap dist css bootstrap css. So a lot of changes we have to do. Container fluid, okay. And here field set class margin top 3 something. Now you see this is the design. So we have for that, we are displaying like this. And here we have the class, so margin top 2. Some option are defined there. So here for button. So that is, so we keep here a div and class margin top, class margin top 2, and I defined as dgrid. And here we given as W25. So some size I configured roughly like this. It will be fine. So then, so class as form control. And here class as btn warning, something like this. That's the button. Email or mobile and continue. Height, width, our wish, you can configure. This is actually, it looks like. Now, suppose this entire is kept. Field set is kept in a div. And class is dflex, display flex, and justify content center. Align items center. Align items so center, and style height as some 400 pixels. This keeps the content adjusted like this. Center, we are keeping it center. Now here, so when user enter the details, so and click on continue. Now what we have to do is when user clicks continue, so we have to write on click is equal to continue click. Continue click. This function will fire up. Let's write the script. So function continue click. Okay. What should happen is we need to verify the password, username, and continue. We will give that here. Suppose we have user details. So where user details. You can try that. So here we have email. In that you have email. And so like john@gmail.com. And we have like mobile. So 9876543210. That is the mobile. Better. It's also a string, not number. We don't use number because we don't want any calculations on that. It's just like a string representation. And we have password. So like John12 @12 like this. Some password. Now we need to configure here. So where see we have username, document get element by ID username. Actually, this is a div where password document get element by ID password. That is another div. So this is actually username container. And this is password container. Two containers are there. We are accessing them. And we are displaying here. Suppose we can display the message somewhere. So, right. So here I can display the message itself here. Now I will write the message below this. So I will keep it div. And with ID as password user error. Okay. And class as text digit. Okay, here I'm giving like, so where user error, document get element by ID user error. Okay. That is the element. Now we need to get the value from text box. So that means txt user, that is the text box where user can enter that email or mobile. That means we are writing the condition. If txt, so user, that means here we will put txt user is equal to document get element by ID. So txt user dot value. We are writing if txt user, so dot txt user is matching with user details. So dot, so user details dot email. If it is matching with email, then password container dot style dot display. So we have to display block. So block, we have to dynamically apply the CSS. And then username container dot style dot display. We should skip it none. That means username will hide and go. There is another condition also. That means, so we have another condition, else if. Another condition is if txt user is matching with user details dot mobile. If it is matching with user details of mobile, then also same should happen. Same should happen. Password container should display and this should hide. That means you are verifying two. If not matching, then else. That means then we have to display the message saying that, so that is user error dot inner HTML. We should display, so invalid email or mobile. That message should come. Similarly, you have to write for password also. I written for only username. You have to write for password also. This should happen on continue click. So that means you see now, I entered here email, some david@gmail.com, some wrong email I entered. And click on continue. It says invalid email or mobile. It's not correct. So then what you do is, so john@gmail and continue. Then it will get the password. And remember, I haven't designed that password box again, same like this. Same like username box, I have to design the password boxes. That means class, so form control. And below that, so we have another div. So class text danger. And this should display password PWD error, password error. And remember, this should have another button. This should have another button. And this button should say, so on click. So it should say login click. Login click. And it should say login. On click, it should say login. So that means here we need to define the appearance in that way. You see, enter the username or mobile 9876, something wrong. Then it says invalid. I entered mobile 9876543210. Then click continue. It will ask for password. You can give that. You can put a back button also. Now you have to, when login click, you should verify password. Now see, actually what I given is two choices I given. User can enter with john@gmail. With email, user can enter. Or with mobile, user can enter 9876543210. And with this, user can enter. And we are showing one container and hiding another container. Now when login click, it should verify the password. If password is correct, then allow. If password is not correct, then again display some message. That means you have to say that invalid password. So that means we are providing, I think, verifying password on login and displaying the message. You can continue. You can write it now, right? No need to show you that. On login click, one more function you have to write that should verify the password entered is matching with the password or not. If it is correct, then say login success. Otherwise, display the message saying that invalid password. Invalid password. I hope that part you can try. You can do it now, that part. Here, our main intention is showing and hiding the content. Showing and hiding the content. Here, disabling, enabling, I showed you. Showing and hiding the content. That means we created two blocks. So that is password block and user block. And remember, they should display. So two choices are there. Email is correct, then show it. Or mobile is correct, then show it. If there are many conditions like that, like user can enter email, user can enter username, user can enter mobile, several choices are there. Don't use this. Why? Because if many conditions are there, it have to check every condition until satisfied. Due to that, compiler problem will come because it will take a lot of burden. Then there is another choice. So for that, what you can do, we can use switch case. Switch case. If there are many choices, then don't try several else if. For that, we have switch case. This is a simple example of else if. Remember, it's not finished. Login click, code you have to write. I am not writing. That's given to you. Okay, you can write it. If password is matching, then allow. Otherwise, invalid. That's what we have to display. So this is for multiple choices. For multiple choices, this is how we have to handle. This is an example for multiple choice. I hope everyone understood all the conditions. Forward jump, simple decision, multi-level decisions, nested decisions, multiple decisions. I given various situations, situation-wise, when to use them, where to use them, right? Now, if there are so many conditions, then we don't need to write these if conditions like this. We can use another selector called switch. Now, what is this switch selector and how it works? That we will see in our next session. Tomorrow we will continue with that, okay? Right. So, and by tomorrow, try that hotel.